Living with anxiety and depression sucks. Anyone who has ever been in my position probably understands what it's like to describe what this feels like to someone who doesn't experience what we do. The words we have in language itself are just insufficient. We don't have a proper way to describe what this is like. Saying, I feel really, really sad, is true, but it isn't nearly enough. You see, sadness alone doesn't explain why you're not getting out of bed in the morning. Sadness alone doesn't explain why you're not making it to work. Sadness alone does not explain why you just can't respond okay to that one text message that was sent to you 5 days ago. Sadness and fear are simple words that are woefully inadequate to describe my life experience. So, I'm going to try and describe what depression and anxiety feel like with pictures. This is the analogy that fits with me, and that life is kind of a game. And I've created a very simple representation of that game. This black box is your brain, and inside our brain, we're going to fill it with tasks. All the important things that a human being must contend with in your average 24-hour period. And I'm keeping it very simple. We're going to start with red boxes. These are things so basic, it should go without saying. Things that if you don't do them, you will literally die eventually. Now remember, I'm starting with an analogy for everyday life. This is what I feel like life is like for everybody, not just those who are suffering with depression and anxiety. This is the challenges I think that all of us, to one degree or another, face every day. And when I'm done with that, I will demonstrate how I feel that depression and anxiety and its effect on the brain are going to change this game that we play. So I've arranged the boxes by sizes that represent my feelings on the amount of brain space that each task should require. Eating is really important, but the actual act of doing it is something most folks enjoy. So it's a little box, not too much effort. Very important, not too much effort. Sleeping, difficult for a lot of folks, certainly for me, so I make that box a little bit bigger. Personal health, that's something that big challenge, so it's also a pretty big box, and it's very similar to our struggles with sleep. And that's it. I'm going to have 3 things for every category just to keep this short and simple. So I take these boxes and I slot them into our brain space. Next, in orange, are very important things. Now, you don't just up and die if you don't do these things, but if you fail these tasks, you're probably in trouble. These tasks directly influence our ability to see to our urgent red squares. Our work is one of the most important things in life. We don't eat without it, and it typically takes up most of our lives, and it takes up most of our time. So it's a real big box. But even when you're done working, typically your responsibilities are not done. You may need to email folks. You might have a commute. You might need to plan your commute the following day, figure out how you're going to get food, etc. Next is your living space. Maybe you pay rent or you have a mortgage. Not to mention that the place where you live has to be kept clean and hygienic. Now, in yellow, there's important things, just not necessarily as important as orange. Exercise, family, and relationships. Relationships including close friends and romantic partners. Finally, in green are things that are considered vital to life, but just don't directly affect the more urgent aspects of everyday survival. They may do so indirectly, but are often lower on the totem pole of urgency. So that includes actually socializing with friends and loved ones, having your own leisure and or free time, and finally, responding to casual texts. Shouldn't be that difficult, so it's a small box. Now, as I fill in the brain space, you can see the problem. And again, I think this is something all of us deal with. There isn't enough space. Our brains can only deal with so much in a day, and life demands more from us. It demands more from us than we ever have enough space for. So what do? We prioritize. If I take out exercise today, well, maybe I see to that tomorrow. So that's an easy sacrifice. I hate doing it anyway. Yeah, I think I speak for many of us when I say that could just stay out for uh, a while. Sooner or later, that is going to hurt the health, but probably going to be later, right? Sure. So we play this little game and we manage. Now, here's how depression and anxiety affect this game. It's still going to be an oversimplification and still not adequate, but I feel it is the most cogent analogy that I have. So here we go. When you feel the way I do, your brain doesn't believe in low effort tasks anymore. So the only thing that changes in this game is every damn box is huge. For me, eating food is stressful. I'm not even talking about getting the food, which is of course stressful. I'm talking about the actual need to sit down and eat something. I will procrastinate, I will stress. I am telling myself I need to do this, but I don't. I'm paralyzed by inaction, and it gets later. And it gets later, and I start getting more and more stressed until it's 11 p.m. at night, and I'm starving, and I feel awful, and I need to be getting to bed, but I haven't eaten yet. So my brain takes the simplest of tasks and turns them into tasks that require the maximum effort, no matter how easy or simple they feel like they should be. Willing my body just to move, to do something, anything. It's always a struggle. It's always painful, all the time. So this is what this game looks like now. And if I'm doing all the urgent things in one day, it is a certainty that I'm not doing all the other things that make these red squares possible. And it's exhausting. So exhausting. Now, a happy accident in my analogy here is that there's actually some empty space up here. Not a lot, but there's a little bit. And this illustrates what it is like when you have time, when you have space, but there's just no room and no capacity to force myself to take action. This represents the wasted time of my day where nothing at all happens. I can spend hours doing absolutely nothing, just kind of breaking down inside, but on the outside, I'm just kind of sitting there listlessly. And this absolutely includes things that are normally considered to be fun or easy, like socializing, because it takes energy to initiate those things. And the same situation that I described when it comes to just sitting down and eat some food, same thing. My brain doesn't want to have it. I have to fight, and I have to fight hard to take actions. This empty space cannot be filled all the time. So I play the game just like everyone else does, but with a debilitating handicap. When you don't take care of the important things, they tend to grow bigger. They become more urgent. So they grow, and eventually you do reach a breaking point. So I will close this out by saying that, of course, this is, again, can't stress enough, a gross oversimplification, still not adequate to describe what it's like. And it's also possible that this may not be everyone's experience, even those with the same diagnoses that I have. No two people are alike, but this is the best I can do at describing what my mind and day-to-day are like. And I just had to put it out there, even though half-assed YouTube effort took up a huge square in my mind space. I had to do it. So thanks for listening to my little TED Talk. I hope the next time you are frustrated at anyone for just not responding to that simple text, maybe now you can understand them a little better. You have every right to be irritated, but there's a reason that this happens, and it sucks. All right, relax. That's not your phone, that's mine. I just gotta pick it up. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing bad's gonna happen. Come on, just pick it up. Pick it.